The head of elections for EFFSC UP 2024. My job is very simple today, is to welcome you, is to open the event, the program, and welcome you as students. Be home, be safe, the dogs are locked, they're leashed, everything is proper, you get your things, the refreshments when we leave. To our guest here, I'm saying, Comrade Phasoane, you are welcome. You can relax, my brother. Thank you. So I'm going to be introducing our SRC elect for 2024. We have Mama Karabo, the Comrade President Mama Karabo Mphahlele. Please stand up. Next to her we have Mama Zandile Mzugwa. Next to her we have Tebo Maribana. Next to her we have Comrade Tiamo Magunye. Next to him we have Comrade Secretary General Phasoane Mphahlele. And next to him we have Ntatlasitole, our Treasurer General. And next to him we have the famous uncontested portfolio of Sakile Masemula. My job is done for the day. Next in program, we have our deputy head of elections, Itumele Mukani. Viva EFF, viva! Viva! Viva EFF, viva! Viva! Puma Sasko, Puma! Puma! Puma ANC, Puma! Puma! Comrades, thank you very much. For those of you who don't know me, comrades, quiet. This is a program. We're not here to play. We must listen to each other. I know we are studying, all of us. We must go back to our books. EFF promotes education. So that's why we're here today. To promote political education, so that you can be equipped with the knowledge and the intricacies of being a leader, so that you can know how to stand up for yourself. And the man who I'm about to introduce now, who's going to deliver the political lecture, for those of you who don't know him, he's the black sheep of the family. The man of giraffe view. He says to us, he's a giraffe on top of another when he's viewed. But welcome to EFFSC UP. Here we don't deal with giraffe view, my brother. We deal with God's eye. We know everything. And if you don't know him, maybe you transferred from UJ. This man is a former treasurer of UJ, EFF Student Command in 2018, and he has a BA Public Management and Governance degree at the University of Johannesburg. He's an educated human being. That's why we say, if you don't love education, you are not an EFF member. Go to our So, comrades, let's not waste time. Let's welcome him as a Gili. You must mood him with something. This man is here to give us knowledge, and knowledge is power. Let's welcome Commissar Fighter Phasoane. Welcome, my brother. Siyabonga. Riyalebonga. Ours here is a very complex task. It requires absolute attention to detail. And we'll try to do our best to deliver these important lectures. But before we do that, we must be able to create the revolutionary spirits of those who once shared a bed with us, of those who once shared a plate with us, of those who once sang with us and articulated party policies with absolute cloisteredness. The spirit of Comrade Mlungisi Madonsela. We must be able to continually speak about him. For ever since he was brutally shot in Durban University, there's never been justice. That is why we say everywhere, long live the undying spirit of Mlungisi Madonsela, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Mlungisi Madonsela, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Phumlani Sithole, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Kensani Maseko, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Katlego Monareng, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Brian Ntumba, long live. Long live. Long live the undying spirit of Palesa Madiba, long live. Long live. Mandla. Awetu. Amandla. Long live the Commander-in-Chief, long live. Long live. Long live the Commander-in-Chief, long live. Long live. Long live the EFFSC UP, long live. Long live. Long live the University of Pretoria, EFFSC, long live. Long live. Thank you very much. Greetings to the branch leadership. I apologize. Today, I will do the unordinary. This is not a Facebook live session where we normally go without paying attention to the book or to the note. Today, we are going to deliberately read, because whatever we're going to be reading here represents our mind. It is exactly what we would say, whether reading or not. We choose to read because we don't want to miss any important detail. And so we please apologize to those who think speaking without something in front of you is more intellectual. We greet the branch under the capable and warm hands of convener Tshepiso Muremi and coordinator Khutso Muima. Revolutionary greetings to all of you, ground forces of our glorious movement. We are here because of all of you. We are here because you deliberately chose for us to be here. Allow me to rightly wish a long life to comrades Kabelo Mahlobogwane, Comrade Amla Munareng, Surprise Silowe,
Lebogang Mathebula, Da King Tiantia, Sithembiso Nkosi, Fikile Sibanda, Njabulo Sibe, a generation of EFFSC branch chairperson in this racist university. So my intention naturally is not to waste any bullet. So my intention is to waste no bullet. For the enemy is advancing with the passing of every second. One is here to simply affirm an old position which stood firm against apartheid and the entirety of Afrikanerdom. So for us today is a very significant one. It is a day in which pseudo-activism will be challenged. Wetham writes, and this is said by Benturo in his book titled Revolutionary Thought in the 20th Century, that evidently there is an additional quality inherent in the concept of revolution.
Comrades, can you please squeeze each other in so that others can see? And if there's spaces, can you
high discipline,
High moral.
high moral,
High discipline.
high discipline,
High moral.
high moral.
High discipline.
Witham writes, Benturo articulated in his book titled Revolutionary Thought in the 20th Century, that evidently there is an additional quality inherent in the concept of revolution, which revolt lacks and which basically distinguishes revolutions from any other form of disturbances, suggesting that the basic criterion is that a revolution always aims at an overthrow of the existing social order, of the prevalent power structure. In this case, the total changing of management in its color before its policy and its policy afterwards in this university. Whereas all other types of disorders, however they may be called, lack this aspiration to fundamental change and simply aim to deal a blow at those in authority or even to depose them. So we are not yet responding with the ultimate means, because standing in front of you, I'm not carrying a gun. I'm not carrying a grenade. I'm not wearing a bulletproof. Standing in front of you, the only weapon is the mind, is the pen and the book, perhaps the laptop. So we are speaking, conversing, yet always prohibited by organized means, censored, and always insulted. It is quite sad that this happens both from the opposing factors and it happens from our own. So it is right for those in power to insult fighters, but it is wrong for fighters to defend themselves. It is wrong for white Afrikaner Boer students to call fighters kafirs, and it is right for fighters to respond. But this type of a contradiction must not be allowed in our organization. If wrong is wrong, and wrong must be challenged anywhere else, then wrong will be challenged even if I'm wearing a beret of the EFF. We must never allow ourselves to dwindle in a situation where those in power becomes immune to criticism and to accountability. They were elected by all of you. and they must account to all of you. Are we here to teach each other to give the second side of the slap or the cheek? We're not here to teach you to give the second side when you are being slapped. I'm not here to teach you that. I'm not here to say to you, when a white racist in this university slap you, give them the second side because Jesus is going to come from heaven and save you. So I quote Ben Duroc and Wilhelm with precision. And I quote this to immediately answer the question of what the EFFSC win mean in this racist university. I immediately wish to disagree with many who believe calling ourselves revolutionary, because we are. We are very revolutionary. They think it is as simple as perhaps our proscription to whatever authority where they bow. We want to say to them, the only authority to which we bow is the truth. And we only bow to the truth. It does not matter the circumstances nor the conditions. We only stand for nothing but the truth. That is who we are. That is what we stand for. So we stand before you with great humbleness, inspired by the greatest martyrs who lived before us. I therefore state that we are here as a consequence of deep structural fissures in our party, which can only be understood by examining the entirety of the organization. We are here to re-articulate the same message once echoed by a generation of black revolutionary scholars in this country of ours, that education must be free. That education must be free, and that education must be free for all. So we shall fight for this free education that we are talking about. This free education that we are talking about, apparently, has been too much of a lip service for so many years. For over 8 years of our existence, we have been speaking in semantics and riddles about free education. Even today, a generation, children of those who started these battles are still fighting the same battles. Did you know that this, what you call NSFAS today, was actually established by people like David Makhura, the former premier of this province? It was called TEFSA before it was called NSFAS. It was Tertiary Education Funding Scheme before it was renamed into NSFAS. The very same people who fought for NSFAS or for TEFSA in 1991, when they were still leading the universities, are today frustrating us, their own children, over the same matters, precisely because they know how to fight and how to defeat these challenges. David Makhura became a premier later. We went to him with memorandums of demands. We said to him, what you were demanding in 1991, we're demanding it yet now in 2016. And there was no answer from him. We said all those tall buildings in Bramfontein must become accommodations for students and give students free accommodation. Remove all criminals who are occupying those buildings and stop claiming easy victories, going to media and showing us when you remove them. Because at the first place, they are illegally occupying those flats. This government that is in collusion with those people, even today refuses to give students free accommodation. So the enemy that we are confronted with is a more dangerous enemy because it knows every tactic on the table. We must therefore be different. So we're not here to play, and we're not here differently to play with your time. We're here to correct the deviations of over many years without accountability. So this generation that I'm talking about, of Steve Bantu Biko, of Robert Sobukwe, have been killed for the very same things that we stand before you and speak of, for demanding free education in our lifetime. Coming here, I received various calls from concerned comrades, fighters and non-fighters in the same sense of affiliation. They said to me, my safety is the only concern, and I stand here to affirm that I know my safety has always been a concern. And I call upon all progressive revolutionary forces to consider this aspect as of immediately. No one must dictate where we go, speak, or otherwise. We must decide our movements fearlessly and without any fear of contradiction. So, comrades, I apologize for such an ideal intrusion. I'm only arriving and I'm only bombarding you with a lot of theories and a lot of politics. But allow me for a second, because you are about to understand why we do that. Comrades, I am very pained. It sends chills to my spine that Comrade Mlungisi Tonsela was killed in DUT, shot by a well-known man, a well-known security company. And until today, no justice is served. So we must demand justice from Mlungisi Tonsela, and we must do so immediately. So it apparently suggests that anyone in this country can simply be killed and no justice will be served. After all, we see these things happen daily in our country, where even the biggest celebrities can just be shot in front of everybody and still there is no accountability. So who are we? Children of the poorest, who happened to have what Janine Iapli calls the mistake of birth. The capital city of Pretoria is considered the second most dangerous city in the world, outdoing Mexico and others today. When we speak about these problems of our society, we must not speak about them passively. These are problems we face today, which creates all these conditions that we find in our campuses. These are problems of a historical nature. And so, I wish to thank many of you who reached out to me through various means and ensured that this program succeeds. This is a massive program, and we thank you for organizing this number of people. We are very grateful. We do not take this lightly, and it is for that reason that we prepared this context of politics. So historically, I said they killed Sobukwe. They bombed Onkgopotsetiro. They poisoned Steve Biko from the prison. They shot Pilan Dwandwe gang style at the back. They killed Ken Temba from here in Atteridgeville. They killed Lewis Nkosi. They killed Nathaniel Nakasa, driven into Harvard through the Nieman Fellowship. They paralyzed Harry Gwala, injected his arms with some nonsensical medication because he was popularly known for shooting and shooting to kill the enemy. So they were trying to stop him from being able to shoot to kill. But he was relentless. He never stopped fighting until his death. So in the most recent time, like I said, they shot Mlungisi Tonsela, they shot Phumlani Sithole, they kidnapped and murdered Palesa Madiba. They killed, they shot Katlego Monareng. They shot Brian Ntumba. The list goes on and on and on and on and stuff like that. That's how much it doesn't matter. So we are here to remind them that these people matter. I'm sorry. My name is Phasoane Mphahlele. I've been speaking too long without an introduction. This is so with my humble rudeness, I am the representation of all these black revolutionary scholars and leaders aforementioned. I am a representation of Dambuzo Marachera from Zimbabwe. That I am. The only young black man to ban Oxford University in the history of humankind. We are unashamedly those comrades. We are Dr. Rodney Walter of Guyana, the one who wrote how Europe colonized Africa. We are those people. I'm a member of the EFF in good standing, branching at Ward 39 sub-region D Soweto in the Johannesburg region, the host of the headquarters. I, however, wish to categorically state, this is official, and in general, that I'm a revolutionary Pan-Africanist, concerned with the ultimate return of our motherland. And that is the bottom line. My task here today is very difficult. I'm not used to speaking in a manner that pays attention to feelings. And I'm equally confident that this is a representation of many young people's aspirations and concerns. I, like the Italian Communist Party leader Antonio Gramsci, written in a letter to his sister Tatiana in December 1955, I prefer a direct adversary. I don't like adversaries who beat about the bush, like what Hugo Chavez called half-cooked, half-baked, sissified. I want a tough thing. I dip in the sea of crocodiles, yet I fight so fiercely, because that is what a fighter must do. So the theme under which we discuss today is what the EFFSC will mean in a racist capitalist Afrikanerdom University of Pretoria. Firstly, we must be able to understand the historical contexts of both the establishment and journey of this racist institution. But prior this, I wish to address an important new type of a matter, which many of you, of course, might have noticed, of course, since yesterday night. I received a letter of suspension from the Acting Secretary General of the EFFSC, Commissar Kanyabungani. I welcome this letter, however, I believe firmly that it is misdirected. I am well vested with party documents. To make it even simple, I am a qualified administrator, possessing a BA in Public Management and Governance from UJ. I practice my consultancy specializing in public leadership and local governance. So for the Acting Secretary General to direct such a venting communication to me is not only misplaced, but shows the loss of direction of our party itself, which must be revived immediately. If this letter did not come mistakenly, and of course I say this with great carefulness, it vindicates us on the call to immediately reorganize the party, and we must reorganize the party. I posted after receiving screenshots later while the letter was sent at exactly 17:47. So it suggests there is also a culture of spreading communiques that are meant to be private. So it cannot be private when I receive screenshots from all of you telling me that I'm expelled or suspended when I don't even know it yet. So I feel the Acting Secretary General not to make this issue about her, but I advise her to correctly reread organizational documents and not act with factionalism. Of course, on this matter, finally, we have a simple question. Did the whole leadership structure CSCT sit and decide to suspend me from the EFFSC even when I am not and have not been a student or a member of the EFFSC for over 4 years, I have been serving my expulsion, my lifetime expulsion from the University of Johannesburg. A case which they refused to take out of personal hatred. So what rubbish is this? Of course, there's things I say pierce through their minds and hearts because only the truth can haunt one like this. They are uncomfortable because they realize fighters are not naive. You are not naive. You are not ignorant. You can see underneath, between and through situations. You must be able to refuse this nonsense. So fighters know who works for the organization and who doesn't. Fighters have a clear history of our contributions to the struggle within which we exist, which is primarily in the institutions of learning and in general, within our communities. Everyone who knows us knows that we are members of the EFF. Now we're having a problem of a deep decline. And if we do not arrest this, many young fighters who cannot even speak because they fear such letters will continue to be silenced and brilliant ideas buttressed. We must surmount these challenges and preserve the very organizational fabric which they, on the contrary, continue to blaze unashamedly and on a daily basis. We cannot be made to fear administrative power. We exist to contest administrative power in the bigger scheme of things. The only authority to which we bow remains the truth. And the truth does not have any captivity. It does not care who says it or go against it. It is a barometer through which all forms of organizing must be subjected. So we are not blending. We remain as pure as water, and we must defeat this chronic misbehavior by anyone for that matter. These antics and polemical gymnastics must never find expression in our organization. We have to arrest this decline. I therefore implore you to totally forgive the Acting Secretary General of the EFFSC. So I do understand a lot is happening, and perhaps my criticism of their term of office develops hatred in their hearts, which would be very unfortunate. Like I said, Janice Ayan, delivering a keynote address at the Berkeley College of Music, stated that everything else is but an accident of birth. Birth, which we say, which chose to give us various talents, for which and whose acceptance cost us both the jury of our feeling, our thinking, and the carnage rippling psycho effects, because we are simply different. So we are different, and we must embrace it. You cannot wage war against anyone if you do not know their arsenal. In our approach, we reaffirm dialectical materialism as our primary method of studying the events taking place in society at large and on a daily basis. Let us remain firm and unflinching in our course. Like I often say, this route has many humps and hiccups, but we must preserve and soldier on. We must therefore commence by giving an account of when and how this pompous, racist Afrikanerdom University was formed. We believe in the Marxist slogans, including that party processes and phenomena peculiarly changes over time. Of course, there will always be contradictions to the positions that we articulate and the sponsored clandestine collaborators supported mainly by mainstream media. But we assure you that we will never sell you out. We have never, and we will never. We therefore humbly ask for your unflinching attention for a couple of more minutes. It was the Transvaal University of Technology, popularly known as TAX, established in 1908 with only 32 Boer students and 4 Boer professors operating at Kaya Rosa House. Among the professors was Elio Fauche, who headed the Tax Department of History and Philosophy. I deliberately mention this department because of its role in manipulating both the ecological history of South Africa in quest to thieve on the treasures of my forefathers from what many of you may simply know as Mapungube. This project was led by Leo Fouche and Jacob de Villiers Roos. You must know these people. The transitional period of revolutionary agility and zeal in the formative stages of the ANC, which later brought the formation of the All-African Convention, pressured Tuks to transform into the University of Pretoria. The only thing that changed, it would seem, was the name. This university is an Afrikaner business which accounts solely to Afrikanerdom. We still fight the same battles. We come to learn that indeed all matters are race and land. A people's potential is in their rightful lands. It is only in a free land that people can genuinely prosper. And this university is like a prison where black students are imprisoned and they are not free. Yet they are expected to pass, yet they do pass, and give this university some little integrity, and they continue to be undermined. Despite the deep history that we share with Boers and English students, who always join the Anglo-Boer friendship in everything, we are no longer certain what young people in this university will do in response. Like the people of Palestine, they will rightfully defend themselves against hundreds of years of systemic exclusions and landlessness. Now in January 1933, a group of 5 Boer archaeologists tied to this university went on a deliberate, well-planned and executed plan to search for the Mapungube Hill. They claimed to have found mineral treasures in the Mapungube Hill while merely passing. At first, the initial history is guided by the Afrikaner Brotherhood. The Afrikaner Brotherhood, a secret society that was formed during apartheid to lead this country, and that continues to lead this country. I might be in a crisis to say this. So, particularly the Library Committee section played a critical role in this university, and the Department of History, as led by Leo Fouche and Roos. Today we learn that these 5 men were on a search for the hill, contrary to their dishonesty and evilness. The Mapungube Hill dates as far as the 1000s, when settler colonialists invaded and killed our forefathers in the Azanian Strait. So these people didn't come here in 1652 as they lied to us. They have been here, committing genocides, killing our people, stealing their lands, enriching their countries where they've got dual passports, yet at the expense of all of us who are gathered here today. And we cannot tolerate this. They came here because of economics. They didn't come here because of black many people who were here. They simply came here because they knew there is gold, there is platinum. They knew the people of Mapungube could manufacture anything with their hands. That is why in this university, there are hand artifacts in your Department of History, stolen from Mapungube. So they also claim to have discovered everything in my motherland, including to have brought civilization. We must patiently internalize our true sense of being, fighters and comrades, friends, brothers and sisters. Because for so many years, the system, verily through institutions like this one where I'm standing, perpetuate the theft of my people's identity, their culture, and as a result, rewrote and continues to rewrite with shamelessness their history. We all know the University of Timbuktu, based in Mali, is the first institution in Africa of higher learning. These great institutions of our forefathers, like University of Timbuktu, produced African scientists, anthropologists, archaeologists, geologists, astronauts, mathematicians, and many more, many of whom were enslaved forcefully and forced to transfer their knowledge under carnage and a barrel of a gun. Many of the buildings that you see in the United States of America were plans of black Africans who were stolen from Africa during the slave trade, and they were forced to give up those plans and ideas so that America can be what it is today, an empire based on the blood and the sweat of our foreparents. In essence, the long and short of it is that Africans are the owners of science. And African science was stolen by European settler colonialists who today have developed both their countries and their private houses in our country. They buy many cars, yet many people are unemployed and they sleep hungry. A student who is a poor or an English-speaking person drives a more expensive car in this university than a lecturer who has a department. So we must be very clear when we speak about racism, Afrikanerdom and its origins. We cannot transform this university without knowing its real history. Many might not know that the likes of the University of Pretoria, the University of Witwatersrand, the University of Cape Town, and the University of Stellenbosch are still what we can fairly and squarely categorize as some offices of the National Party during apartheid. This is where Afrikanerdom is administered properly and without fail. You will learn that in Stellenbosch, by the way, including in a police station, there is no black man or woman. All police are white. And to be precise, they are poor. In the courts, all staff members are white and poor. In the University of Pretoria, in the council, they are all white and predominantly poor. We'll come to that. These are the same problematic institutions that shows us a middle finger in a so-called democratic society. Let us continue to provide a more nuanced perspective of the historical background of this racist institution. So in 1933, February, the University of Pretoria and some guy called Ernest Collins, the man who claimed to own Grifsveld Farm, the farm where Mapungube is vested, signed a notarial deed of agreement granting this institution total control of the Mapungube farm. Granting this institution, a private institution, total control of our land, where it is not situated. There is no campus of UP in Mapungube. Yet they had total control of Mapungube. Let us make this worse for them. The university proceeded with state support to protect Mapungube with physical security. What type of an institution of higher learning is this one? So in 1934, the university established the so-called University of Pretoria Archaeological Committee, chaired by Jacob de Villiers Ruos. I mention him time and again so that he sits here, so that you don't forget these people, like Dr. Malan Verwoerd and Ernest Collins, your Marais, your Pretorias and Martinias. All of them played a critical role in what we are today. So, the university is the only institution in South Africa that has mineral resources and artifacts. Stolen from Mapungube, by the way, I emphasize. Protected by the state. In fact, there's no difference between the University of Pretoria and the South African Reserve Bank. They might as well deploy the army here in this institution because it is seemingly more powerful than government itself. So in a democratic South Africa, UP that is built on the blood and sweat of our forefathers particularly from the Mapungube Hill, have the South African mineral resources, displaying not only apartheid influence, but imminent in reminding all of us who are here of our confusedness, that we are actually meaningless. We are just pawns in the bigger game. We are just here, do you know what is called a color run? We are just that color that is often too visible in this university, yet they don't care about us. So in the late 1930s, early 1940s, this university was forced to integrate other races officially. A number of black scholars started registering, and as expected, poor students who to date still suffer from some superiority complexes continues to hate and fight black students without accountability, and they remain infringing because they know this racist apartheid university will protect them. Most recently, they referred to black scholars as kafirs, members of the EFFSC. We must not be scared of using this word kafir, because that would be equal to erasing the true sense of the history and the pathology of Afrikanerdom racism. It is them who coined it against us, people of color. So it is fortunate or unfortunate that they provoked this perpetrating against a wrong black young people. A youth like yourselves must never allow a racist white young boy or girl to tell them that they are kafirs. Kafirs must be responded with absolute precision, without any fear of contradiction, without being any coward. You cannot be intimidated and abused by racist white Afrikaner and English boys and girls. You are vanguards of society, and you are vanguards of students and workers' interests immediately after your academic interests. We are therefore unwavering in our affirmation that fighting is the only and the only and the only option to achieve our goals. So we are here to tell them, all of them, that we are not begging to be in this university, that this university belongs to us, and that there is nothing they can do about it. We do not beg what Phasoane calls managers of Western enterprises, that the University of Pretoria is not a poor institution anymore, and that there is a new sheriff in town, which is the command. On the same connection, we are warning all black management in this university that, in fact, and all other universities across the country and TVET colleges, to refrain from what the clandestine collaborators did during apartheid. Because money can never be the basis for crushing a beautiful dream of young people. Young people dreamt about simply studying for free in the country of their own, where education is currently commoditized and sold in unexplainable amounts of money, where majority black youth cannot afford it, and every white young person can afford it. We must open the gates of learning by all means necessary. The EFFSC UP must ensure the dialectical connection between party principles and the nature of material conditions in these institutions are forever balanced. I am probably going to be in more trouble for invoking a spirit of revolutionary activism in all of you. But it is the only thing left really. Tangible and final attractive victory is that which delivers the demands of students and young people, including workers. On the other hand, the objective reality of existing as a party is to deliver free education in motherland. On the other, there is a persisting prerequisite of not only the existence, but the development and reorganization of the EFFSC University of Pretoria and the EFFSC as a whole on a continual basis. You must be a conscious detachment, an embodiment of the links between this university and those black young people who cannot access it due to various factors. You must have scientifically grounded and realistic programs like this one, where doomsayers and prophets of doom, where haters and enemies of progress and action had manifested that it is going to fail. And they are swallowing their words with bitterness now, because this is scientific and this is grounded. This is realistic and this is well thought. This is highly researched and this needs professional consultation. So this is an absolute certainty of the victory of the EFFSC in this institution now and forevermore. So as we continue and we are going to close very soon, you must criticize yourselves too with respect and discipline and continue to shape this beautiful organization of ours. I also wish to be frank, telling you that in the journey comes challenges of a varying nature. Sometimes others will be suspended or expelled, or at extremes possibly be arrested for seeking to transform this racist university. Some of us are serving a lifetime expulsion from UJ. You can't register anywhere in the country. We are almost unemployable. And guess what? The only thing they care about is to stop us from coming to see you. Our only love. So I encourage you to remain strong and firm amid any challenges. Must never despair. So for a branch not to despair, it requires a solid organization on top, able to defend its structures and substructures. It does not need a leadership that equally frustrates branches unreasonably. It is a different matter when the deviations from principles of party leadership becomes a regular process and a rule. It forces us to continually speak about the historical context of the party so that we guard against any deviations. So this will allow us to continue the reappraisal work that you have been carefully and strategically doing here. So we are very proud of the growth, the strength, and the stability of this powerful branch, the EFFSC, University of Pretoria. Long live the EFFSC UP, long live! Long live! Long live the EFFSC UP, long live! Long live! Long live the EFFSC UP, long live! Long live! Manda! Awetu! Manda! The EFFSC was established on 16 June 2015 at the University of Limpopo in Teflo. And the formation of this university, called the EFFSC, which teaches young black majority people about the cause of revolution, was precisely established to close the gaps, which even now and then predisposed with obviousness that in the preceding years, the EFF will not be able to timely organize if it does not exist in the most important strata of society, which is the institutions of higher learning. The EFFSC first official branch is in the UJ Doornfontein campus. Must never forget this history. The party was therefore established on the basis of 7 non-negotiable principles and the EFF 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars, which binds all of us who are here today. Then fighters, kindly know that this work of speaking on behalf of and for many amazing young people who are not yet fully convinced of our organizational potentialities is difficult, especially when met with an aggression from within. So you are such an amazing group of young people, and we really, really appreciate it. So although we accept the difference in opinions, it would seem lately these ideological differences constitute personal hatred. It is malice for the party to tolerate such unpunished mischievousness of the current incumbency, for calling members of our organization and intimidate them, for inviting people and members of the party to come and participate in an already declared program of the party, which is the massive political education in this year 2023. This is why the party has been stagnant or even denigrating. Allow me to remind you of what General Atanas Dimitrov of the Bulgarian Communist Party said. That a party member who is unwilling to learn, to educate him or herself and progress is not and cannot be a genuine member of our party. So all of you here must be willing to learn, you must be willing to educate yourselves, and you must be willing to progress, both in the context of politics and academics. It is similarly true that the EFFSC is growing, and that there are changes and challenges that continues to occur, both in the context of governance and inner party democracy. So our members were removed from SRC in this racist university. But without dwelling too much into that, because the explanation of the reason why we are here suggests the very same connotations. We fighters do not read organizational documents. We do not know with certainty even how many members belong to our organization. There is no absolute legitimacy. We cannot confirm how many members are members of the EFFSC nationally. We cannot do that. There are no communication channels. There is no reporting means, no public consultations. Just a regrettable regression that unfortunately hooves all of us under its imposition. And we must fix it now. Deeper structural changes are taking place, making it even more complex to immediately draw conclusions on various matters of organizational importance. So fighters must open their eyes and ears. We have entered an uncharted political, horrifying and terrifying territory, where those who are vocal of the real struggles of our people and our students are silenced by concocted pages, blocked in all ways from the prospects of a peaceful life and a peaceful activism. So the only option left when one is cornered is not to run away like a silly young boy who stole some snacks, but to boldly fight from within and preserve the purity of our party. It is for this reason that we must expose all forms of corruption, even here in this university, and decisively deal with corrupt individuals like Professor Themba Musi. It cannot be, comrades, that 8 years later, 8 years, all the demands that we had gained are reversed. No free registration, no free accommodation, no free meals. These things are random, they are there and there, where people are there to organize. So we remain a toothless people who cannot fight for their futures. That is what young people in the country are now saying about us. So we must all fight for the vision. We need the vision. We must fight to get the vision. All of us must get the vision. We must go, all of us, and identify the political and ideological vision which is going to make an organizational purity in this process. When the EFF was still a vision, it didn't give birth to any other substructure. So a revolutionary thinker impregnated this revolutionary vanguard movement. Then it gave birth to the EFFSC. So the EFFSC is that misbehaving, mischievous kid whom we are not sure whether the virginity still exists or it's lost. And that's why we must go and look for the purification, for that virginity. It would seem that we are not sure if the EFFSC has given birth to another party of some I don't know. There are so many groupings, a member of a member, a member of it's a lot. And so we must, all of us, make sure that as soon as we get that virginity back in the organization, that we have an EFFSC virginified, we will make sure that sanitary towels of an ideological magnitude are provided for this organization. This organization must not go around catching ills because it is not protected ideologically. We are politically condomizing. We have to be protected, of course. We don't want to rush into impregnating any wrong ideas to you. So, pardon me, I believe all of you here are old. And when I'm speaking in these semanticisms, it's not like you don't get what I'm saying, right? Yes. So it can be done. The original character of the Vanguard movement must be reversed. It must look back where it began. And all of us must take this vehicle and go back where we began. It can be done. It must be done through political education, where we expound the party history and its policies with intense studiousness. But also what we say is that all attempts to negate the party a revolutionary character, and at the least an epoch in its formative stages, and therefore grant it its fullest potentialities, equate to blunting the raising sharpness of the struggle for which the party exists, which is to deliver free education in motherland. So it is very important that we continually raise our levels of political consciousness, not academic consciousness. Because I can assure you now, South Africa has over 15 million graduates that are unemployed. 15 million. They are taught in classes like all of you. They are imparted with theories, insubstantial theories that has got nothing to do with their daily lives. They graduate, they go searching for jobs. Even now, it's a kitty cat situation. The rats are running away with the cheese. Those who have companies and means of production don't even answer your call when they are getting paid. He's going to ask me for money. I know. Can I even answer this one? Tell him I'm in a meeting. But we are drinking together, in what meeting? This party must build a militant vanguard detachment unionized by similar ideas. What happened is that this party elected President Mphahlele in 2015 in the University of Limpopo, the first EFFSC president. On the same year, this university had a branch, and it was under the chairpersonship of Comrade Kabelo Mahlobowane. Do you comrades know Chairman Kabelo Mahlobowane? Long live Chairman Kabelo Mahlobowane, long live! Long live! Long live Chairman Mahlobowane, long live! Long live! So this brilliant young man, after fighting from this racist university, went on to establish himself in the business or corporate sector. Today he established what we call a marking up. Today he's a teacher. Today he has led and he still leads a union of teachers in the country. He works with Trevor Noah Foundation. They deliver on the gaps that this government cannot deliver. These are products of this branch. And all of you must know them and you must embrace them because Kabelo is a YALI alumni. So YALI is a Young African Leaders Initiative accommodating 14 SADC countries. I don't know if you get that. So students from across the country have been consolidated since 2014 on the possibilities of forming an alternative students' movement. Of course, later the TEF resolutions happened and the EFFSC was birthed as it continues to live and it shall outlive many of us. We have had the intentions of outfacing the party, by the way. We do not agree with this narrative. We believe so many comrades sacrificed their lives. Many sacrificed their freedoms. And today, the party which endorsed those struggles cannot redirect. This will confuse many already difficult young people who are still in love with songs and t-shirts of the EFF and have not yet grasped ideology. That is why we are here, to deliver ideological politics. We're not here to deliver t-shirts, though we are going to give you t-shirts. We're here to deliver ideas. In fact, the unofficial EFFSC University of Limpopo won the SRC in 2014 before the party was officially launched. It was immediately rigged out of fear, and this is why the EFFSC was launched in the University of Limpopo. So you comrades don't know why the first conference went to University of Limpopo Teflo. It is precisely because we won the SRC there before we were official. So young people were being honored. Comrades like Kolofelo Majuju. Oh, my Lord, we must never erase history. History contains no blank pages. So on that very same space, the party declared organizing students' power for economic freedom in our lifetime as our first slogan. After officially launching in Teflo, it was launched in many campuses later, including the University of Johannesburg, Soweto, where I led. Firstly as a political education officer in 2016, and later as a chairperson in the period 2017, and again in 2018 respectively. I wanted to go again as a chairperson in 2019, and again and again. Because we are a generation that won SRC for the EFF in the history of University of Johannesburg. For the first time, anyone won SRC. We are that generation. We took power against ANC babies. We're contesting Makura. We're contesting a vice-chancellor who bought t-shirts for all ANC structures. No one came to speak to our students on our campus like a celebrity. We spoke to our students and our workers like you did in this university, and they voted for all of you. To radically, militantly, and ideologically organize students and workers on campuses. On the same period, we delivered total victory of many campuses, including mine, of course, including mine, in Soweto. So it was Kobisambu Ndlozi who first posted midnight when we were informing the party that results are out and we are the kings. We were the kings of Soweto, where the last time we won that campus was the victory I'm telling you about now. The last time we won that campus was when we were getting expelled. This sets a wrong precedence and sends a wrong message that the party is the individual and the individual is bigger than the party. Why are we unable to reorganize this time? We must be concerned. And we must go back and we must fix it. The arrival of the EFFSC on campuses was on the basis of a single non-negotiable cardinal: to fight for and deliver free education in our lifetime. The EFFSC protested across the country, heeding the call for free education in South Africa, which saw Chairman Makobowani here in this university and his collective fight this racist institution. On October 2015, fighters submitted a memorandum of demands to the then Vice-Chancellor Dillary, explicitly demanding free education in this university. The protest lasted the whole year across the country from July. That is why we are called the July Protest Movement. It is because our protest naturally began since July, immediately after we were launched in Teflo. So we didn't sleep, we didn't sit down. We went on to contest every SRC from since inception, and we won since inception. So the issue of winning SRC victories is not a special case. It is what we normally do. It is our thing. So of course, fighters here in UP elected Chairman Phasoane Mphahlele in 2016, who continued the battle and served a jail sentence for that cause. It is comrades like Amla who physically confronted poor racist students and their fathers and mothers in this management, and even served a jail for it. Long live Chairman Amla, long live!
Long live!
Long live Chairman Amla, long live!
Long live!
Must never erase history. Every detail matters. Cannot say it's a puzzle if that corner there is not there. Even if it's a tail that is almost not visible for the puzzle to be complete, it is a matter. That invincible puzzle pattern must be there for this to become a whole. So you must never forget these young people, these brave, gallant fighters, for history contains no blank pages. During these times, at the very same time, students initiated another protest called Insosi, which demanded permanent employment of university workers, cleaners, bus drivers, security guards. We demanded that they must be employed permanently. These are old things. These are old things, you know. Although the university, this one, acceded to those demands even at that time, years later, workers are not insourced in this university. Workers are not insourced. Phasoane comes with some company, and then they give him a tender of millions and millions. And then he goes and pick his friends to say, comrades, come and clean. I'm going to make you a supervisor, what, so that you earn proper. And then they don't take our fighters. They go and take people who are on the streets, who are illegal foreigners in this country, so that they don't negotiate payments. Then they continue to hire one another. You see, hey, this cleaner is very fun. I don't know this cleaner. You find you are a workers person. Today you want to greet that worker, you are happy, but you are not familiar. Because the contract has changed. That is how capital operates. You cannot be allowed to have a friendship with workers. Why? Because they know you will have the power to close this campus anytime you call for it. So they want to remove those workers who are closer to you and bring new people. So your work must be long because you must convince people time and again. New people every time. Yeah, workers must be sourced every time. We have never gotten tired. I don't think you must be tired. So the state, out of fear, deployed even the state intelligence agency. Are we at war here? Why are you deploying an intelligence agency against young people? Are we at war? Are we bombarding any buildings or anyone? Are we killing children? Are we beheading children? So at that time, there was a group of young people who were categorically and deliberately captured by media, made popular, and popularized so thoroughly in an effort to project an image of brave young leadership of young people. So these people were produced by media. Between 2015-16, a group of young people, if you listen attentively, was deliberately captured by media, published in articles, taken to interviews on TV, on radio, so that they appear as representatives and as the voice of young people. Today we have these people proclaiming themselves as leaders of youth in South Africa, out of what we can fairly conclude a posturing credential to manage the anger of young people where this government refuses to deliver free education. So they can fairly and squarely be categorized as collaborators who do not deserve our attention at all. Because it doesn't explain it, it doesn't cut it. That young people are in parliament, yet we don't see parliament shutting down, we don't see them climbing tables, demanding free education in parliament. The last one we can remember for doing this job is the former president, President Peter Gates. Long live President Gates, long live! Long live! Long live President Gates, long live! Long live! President Gates remains the founder of a massive organized detachment of the EFFSC. So these young people that I was referring to, by the way, some of them are products of UP. They used to climb a table here at UP and shout. Today they are in parliament. They no longer climb tables and shout for free education. So the protest toned down later in 2016 with many demands met, including the scrap of the then announced fee increment. And in 2017, the EFFSC UP elected Chairman Surprise Silowe. From the recently draining and long protests, the situation was a bit calm around this time. This was a period of cultivating the party to the ground. And the EFFSC used to be popular for its intellectual discourses, symposiums, lectures, and so forth. Indeed, history must be told as sharply as possible. In 2018 times, Lebogang Matebula and Dakintiantia can certainly account to come here. This is when we even had a few SRC members. Later we lost again and continued with the culture of winning one office in the SRC. The situation of chairpersons Tembi Sonkosi and Fikile Sibanda were not as tense as well. We are now here in 2023. The EFFSC delivered a decisive victory and spitted on the feet of white Afrikaner racists who still hold on to power in this university. And by the way, we saw a young lady going to the media and defending rubbish and total garbage on behalf of this university. We invite her to come and say it here now. We condemn this behavior by young kids of Jan van Riebeck and Verwoerd, who suffer from superiority complex, inheritors of the sweat, the blood, and the riches of our forefathers. Apartheid apologists. Those who say, oh no, yeah, you know, oh no, yeah, no, I understand, but really, yeah, but really, but like we can sit in the same class now, like, you know, it's no longer when they used to arrest your dad. Like it's something so normal and something to even kid around and about. No, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. At least now you can stay in Hartfield, dog. What the fuck? So we have no impression of being here and being here forever. We are here to obtain our courses. We are here to achieve our qualifications. From here you go back to Enu, to Kwantentuzuma, Brongor Strait, Kwamshabuyalingana, next to Mozambique, 15 minutes away from Mozambique. You go back to Mphahlele, where I come from, where there is no water, no roads, no sanitation, nothing. And you must go there and make something. So that is what we are here for. We're not here to be loved by some white boa. So the times when skin color defined platforms and opportunity is over. We are in an era where one is defined by the content of their character. Whether pink or white, blue or brown, we live in a world that is at least colorless in our perspective. The era when poor students called black students kafir and laugh about it is over. Today, if you call us kafir, we will respond with precision and EFFSC UP has made everyone proud in defeating children of Verwoerd, Smuts, Pretorias, Ruos, Veldjoe, Marais, oh my Lord, the entire Afrikaner brotherhood. And we must never give them a chance to breathe again. It is now or never. In the last sentences that I'm going to read here, I'm going to be directly answering the question in conclusion. What the win of the EFFSC mean in a racist, capitalist Afrikanerdom University of Pretoria? This win is symbolic of the wishes and aspirations of majority students in this university who are tired of rampant, atrocious, irresponsible, careless, capitalist Afrikaner racism. So we are here to tell you that this win is a demand by students to have an EFFSC that can bite. Their vote to you is a generous gesture of pure love, affirmation, and trust. Do not misuse it. Do not misuse it, because they can remove you. They have that power. Don't misuse it. This win in layman terms mean many of you will be possibly suspended. Okay, sorry. Because unfortunately, no one stands in front of people and tell them the real truth. And when Mataitai gets patched here, you cry, all of you. We must tell you this thing now, so that you develop strategies of fighting every battle. This means you might be expelled or arrested, like I said. For one cannot be a revolutionary without internalizing these causes of events. Many of our friends were arrested. I was never arrested. Not like I'm advocating to be arrested or something like that. So I was never arrested anyway, right? I always have this maneuvering around police. If I'm caught, the tongue is very soft. So my friends were arrested, including many of them, actually. So I know what is the meaning of being in a prison. Because the manner in which I was dying of depression outside, I even wished I could replace them from inside, or even join them. Because not knowing what your real friend and comrade does inside is so painful, like not knowing when free education will come in South Africa. Dialectical materialism teaches us that conditions in society are not static. They develop and change with time. The way we were fighting in 2015 and 16 is not the way we can fight today. New challenges require new strategies and tactics, and we must do that. The only way to exist with an immediate and understanding is that this university will not stand by and watch you undress its Afrikaner identity. Yet you must directly fight and do it fiercely. This win threatens many Boers and whites, English, Boerism and Anglicization. Naturally, we see the dynamic of power shifts in terms of both political and organizational power in this university, where many Boers will not have hegemony on the decision-making structures of the university. We are in spaces where they never thought we could reach. We are the spirits of those that they killed. They never died. We are those people today. They never died. That is why they mobilized one another, even here in Pretoria at the 8th Squash Club VD voting district, where the EFF got 0 votes in a voting station, because that is a location where only Boers are found. And they are angry that the EFF took a position that this Springbok of theirs, of Johan Rupert, must be transformed. So they said, oh, no, anything Afrikaner cannot be touched. We must not allow that, so we must not vote there. So no one, even the one who was appointed as a coordinator and a convener of that VD, didn't vote for the EFF. It can't be correct that Comrade Kutso here and Comrade Sepiso go and not vote for the EFFSC while they are convening this branch. So that is how arrogant Afrikanerdom is. This win in this university means racist residencies which evacuate black students must be a priority for all of yours attention. Address this thing with vigorous eagerness, and you must do so immediately. In fact, if needs be, we must go all of us and occupy these residences. I know for sure, I've been in some of your residences. I didn't find it pleasing that these residences have so many rules, yet they are bizarrely expensive, and yet they can evacuate students so easily. They must never do that in the presence of the command. The residences in this university are owned by poor men and women around Hatfield, to be specific. So we must stop these racists from abusing us. This will mean black businesses must enter the database of the University of Pretoria and do business with the university with precise policy changes. In this case, in conclusion, the definition of Africa in this case is black. The language policy of this racist university was central to the 2015 protests too. It is still central today. Workers are still not insourced in this university. This win must amplify the call for insourcing of our parents in this university. Comrades, this win must not make us become guardians of our superstitions. We must take practical action to demand all these things mentioned. I'm saying the EFFSC once demanded the insourcing of workers, and yet they are still not insourced. We once demanded reforms of the language policy, yet Afrikaans is still a medium of instruction in this university. Question papers are written in both Afrikaans and English because Afrikanerdom cannot accept defeat from Englishization. That is what, after all, caused the Anglo-Boer War, where the Boer said, I cannot be defeated by the English, and therefore we are still fighting these elements today. This generation must, as a matter of urgency, consolidate the ground in demand of the resolution of these issues. It is only when we have insourced workers in this university, scrapped the registration fees for African students, transformed the language policy to use a single medium of instruction, so that poor students don't have a benefit of writing everything in home language, unless all of us must be given our home languages here. So this is a final Leninist question. This is a final Leninist question as I sit down. What is to be done? What does this win mean in this university? In 2024, the University of Pretoria, like all other universities and colleges in South Africa, where the EFFSC exists, must make sure they reasonably engage us, the ground and the people. The break has been too long. The conditions are the same. Financial and academic exclusions have accumulated instead of being defeated. Students don't have residences fit for studying purposes. Students die on campuses and managements do not account. Lusima Donzela was shot dead, Katlego was shot, Palisa was killed just like that. How many more must die? Kentani Masego committed suicide out of depression that many of you suffer from here. And you are hiding it because you think it's a special thing. If they see you, they will judge you or something. To answer this question with blankness, my brothers and sisters, and I understand you have been seated for too long, we must fight, we must be unhinged, we must be unflinching, we must be resilient, and we must intensify Pan-Africanism that teaches us to serve, to suffer, and to sacrifice. We must do so for the generations that are going to come after all of us. In 2014, we demand free education in our motherland, all of us here from here across the country until they give it to us. So any government that does not grant its people free education must not have a peaceful night. It must be woken up from every village, from every city. During the night when they are busy sleeping with blue lights, they must be poked and pinched by a nightmare that they have never seen before. So inspired by the conditions that are persisting, you must be ready to fight. We are not going to pretty much sit down and speak like this from next year going forward. You must be ready to fight, because no one but yourselves can do it. I'm not making a campaign speech here. I'm closing, and I'm simply imploring you to do what is right. I'm simply saying you must do what is right. I'm not calling for you to shut down campuses here carelessly. I'm not saying do it carelessly. I'm imploring you to take the necessary actions. I'm not teaching you to be weak, but I implore you to be able to defend yourselves in any manner whatsoever against any form of aggression. I'm not suggesting war, by the way, but I implore to you an understanding that peace precursor war. So there is time for war, and there is time for peace. So we are at war now, with rampant African racism that must be defeated. We saw the Springbok, by the way, go to the farm of Johan Buffett. Maybe it's still coming here too in the University of Pretoria. They must know they can kill us, not our ideas. We must fight, and we must fight us. So lastly, what win in a university like this mean is a simple but heavy fact that young people in South Africa at large demand a biting youth representative who will roar at the face of corrupt individuals who occupy leadership and management positions, like Themba Musiya, who recommended that UNISA must be put under administration, the so-called independent assessor in UNISA, a best friend of Blade in Zimande, and a leader of the University of Pretoria at that. So you must connect the dots. Such mafias must leave our institutions of learning and go lead prisons, where they will be best suited as they represent unconstitutionalism, barbarism, and backwardness. We must be prepared. We must demand a legitimate and reasonable youth leadership which can tap into spaces of young people. We must consolidate the ground immediately, and we must do so guided by the double giraffe view. There is no other way. We must be guided by the double giraffe view because it is the only view when a giraffe is on top of another giraffe. When a giraffe is on the neck of another giraffe, it is able to see through. Yes, underneath, it is able to see beyond situations. The EFFSC must be reconfigured, reorganized, and it must be a biting revolutionary dog with carnivorous agility and the venomous capabilities to protest without unbelievably fearing institutions or the state, even if they concoct charges too. We are pleased to see soldiers die with their boots on. That is what we are going to do, to die with our boots on. We are not the half-baked, the sissified, the half-cooked cookies of the revolution of some imposition where they are unwanted. We fill the cookie jar because without us, baby, you can never make it tasty. So my dear comrades is definitely closer to, or is even down, because me and you, by the way, me and you, from here, we are going to do door to door, rest by rest. After examination, everyone must leave here knowing that 2024 is our 1994.
Africa!
Amanda! Awethu! Amanda! Awethu! Revolutionary greetings. My name is Fighter Zandile Mzukwa. I am here to give the vote of thanks. Special thanks to Commissar Phasoane Mphahlele. Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause? To us, we were in need of political education. As you have said, some of us are just people, fighters walking around in t-shirts without any ideologies in mind. Also, I am here to urge you guys to remember not to give the second cheek to be slapped. Yeah, that's the one thing. Special thanks to our conveners, our organizers for this event, our ground forces for having you guys to come here. You guys came in numbers. We thank you guys. We thank you for showing a high level of moral and discipline. Thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. So now it's that time for the refreshments that some of you may have came here for, but some of you you can tell me you came here for refreshments. Did you came here for refreshments? Exactly. So you are taking some knowledge with you. Here's something that I would like to remind you guys. As Commissar Phasoane had said, we stand for nothing but the truth. So remember, no retreat. As we have, as the EFFSC UP branch, we have stand before the lies of this university, and we fought for our candidates. We fought, we never retreated, we never backed down. As they have now withdrawn their suspensions and thank you for the spies, the enemies that are watching. Thank you for coming. Education of our lifetime. Amanda! Viva to the EFFSC UP branch. Viva! Viva! Viva to EFF. Viva! Viva! Viva to CIC Julius Malema. Viva! Viva! Viva to yourself, fighter. Viva! Viva! Okay, so can we please maintain order? There are refreshments by the exits. You take whatever you get there, please disperse. We don't want people to loiter around here. You take whatever you have, and also we are limited of cups. If you are going with a friend, you guys can get maybe a cup that you can share, a bottle, and then you leave campus. Thank you guys for coming.
The phones.